The manager's hands trembled as the millionaire barked in rapid Mandarin. The restaurant froze. Guests stared. The staff whispered. Then, when the manager's panic reached its peak, every head turned as the quiet maid, the one no one had noticed all evening, opened her mouth and answered in flawless Chinese. The manager stood paralyzed, sweat forming on his brow. The millionaire's Mandarin rolled off his tongue like thunder, sharp, demanding, impossible for the staff to understand. Every second felt heavier, the silence more humiliating. Patrons looked on, curious, some amused, others shaking their heads. The weight of power pressed down on the room, crushing the man who could not reply. In the corner, the maid stood still, her hands folded neatly, her uniform plain, her presence almost invisible. Yet her eyes did not waver. She watched, calm as stone, while the manager stumbled and stammered, searching for words he did not have. The millionaire leaned forward, his voice cutting deeper, his patience gone. The crowd saw it as a spectacle, a theater of power. No one lifted a hand. No one spoke. And that was the cruelty. Silence was complicit. But the maid's silence was different. It was not weakness. It was weight. It was waiting. She was more than she appeared. Few knew that years ago, she had lived far from this polished dining hall, in a country where Mandarin filled the streets, where voices rose with morning markets and lanterns lit the nights. Few knew of her sacrifices, her years of service, her quiet strength carved from hardship and endurance. Her story was not of privilege, but of resilience. She had crossed oceans, carrying only memories and scars. She had served in places where uniforms mattered more than names, where her voice was seldom heard, yet her spirit endured. She had seen leaders shout, seen men crumble, seen dignity stripped away. And she had learned that the greatest strength was not in raising one's voice, but in holding it until the world leaned in. The manager's voice cracked. The millionaire's face darkened. The air grew heavy with embarrassment. And still, the maid stood unmoving. A tray balanced in her hand, but her back unbent. Then, without warning, she stepped forward. Heads turned. Whispers rippled. Her voice broke the silence, soft yet certain. Every syllable flowed with perfect Mandarin. The millionaire froze, his anger colliding with disbelief. The audience gasped, their surprise cutting through the tension like glass. For a moment, there was only stillness. Then the weight shifted. Power, once held by the millionaire, now hung in her hands. The maid spoke calmly, her words precise, respectful, but unshakable. "Respect," she said, her tone even, her gaze steady, "is not measured in language, but in the way we treat those who serve." The room grew quiet, each soul caught in the gravity of her words. The millionaire, once towering with dominance, now seemed smaller, exposed. His voice faltered, his pride unraveling under the quiet strength of the woman he had overlooked. And the crowd, once silent bystanders, began to shift. Their eyes met hers with recognition, with a new respect. Some straightened in their seats, as though reminded of a truth they had forgotten. The manager lowered his gaze, humbled not by shame but by gratitude. The maid had not only saved him, she had saved the dignity of the room. Her silence had been her shield, her knowledge her weapon, her honor unshakable. True power, she had shown, does not shout, it stands. And in that instant, she was no longer invisible. She was unforgettable. As the millionaire muttered a quiet apology, the story was already spreading through the room like fire. A tale of humility, of dignity, of unexpected strength. The night ended not with applause, but with something deeper, silent respect. And perhaps that silence was the loudest sound of all. In a world quick to judge by status, wealth, or appearances, stories like this remind us that true worth is often hidden in plain sight. The quietest voices often carry the greatest strength. Respect costs nothing, but its absence can cost everything. Wherever you are watching from, share what this story means to you. And if you believe that silent dignity is the highest form of power, Subscribe for more stories that honor those who carry unseen battles with unshakable grace.